All right, so speaking of our childhoods,
we watched today this year.
Dory.
Finding Dory. Yep.
the classic by Pixar.
Pixar. Did you say?
I said Pixar.
The sequel of the classic.
Yeah,
by
sequel of
Pixar.
the classic. So you don't think this is a classic?
No.
Would you consider this a classic film?
I just didn't think it needed to be made, to be honest.
No.
No.
Not really.
So it could have been done. So this whole thing just never had to happen.
Well, I'm trying to think. In Finding Nemo, did they ever mention anything about Dory's parents at all? Ever?
No.
No, I
'Cause
don't
she was
think so.
a minor character.
No,
Yeah.
she said. Didn't she mention? She has a line where she says, "I think I lost my parents," because she was looking
Are you
for
sure that
someone.
wasn't in there? Oh.
Remember, doesn't it look? Because she's looking for someone when Marlin runs into her. She's like, "I'm looking for someone." That was her parents, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, that would make
So-
sense because
That one
when
scene
you
has
watch
sprouted
this movie,
the whole movie.
like that's her trying to find her parents because she would have comes from. No.
Looking for the parents. Maybe that's why she keeps on getting confused with Finding Nemo. It's because she's trying to find her parents the whole time in that movie. But that one line sprouted a sequel,
A whole sequel.
Finding Dory, which
Yeah.
made a lot of money.
$1 billion. It made over $1 billion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, most kids' movies.
So it's like
do.
the whole economy of a small country in Africa.
But that's it's a good time to make a sequel because any kid that would have watched it at our age,
Yeah.
would see it again like we did in the cinemas, Sam.
Yeah.
Well,
At that
also-
age.
It was a
nostalgia.
few years later.
But then the
though. It took
new
them
era-
ages to do it.
Yeah, I
new
know.
era.
It was 13.
I think it was smart.
So 2003 was Finding Nemo.
Oh wow.
So it took them 13
all-
years.
Yeah.
That's perfect because
That's perfect.
those kids though,
How's that? That's such a random year.
those kids though that are 5 to 7 years old are now in their early 20s, and they'd go to the cinemas out of nostalgia to go see it, which a lot
Yeah.
of our friends did, and we did. But it also hits that new demographic and that new era
was that
of
word?
kids. Demographic
Yeah.
of
Okay.
kids.
Can you spell that? No, it's all right. We'll move on.
We've had that time. I can spell. Popularity is down 27, by the way. But it's a perfect time to do it because you have those two different eras to go see it, and it shows in the box office there. It made $1 billion.
But Pixar never really has an issue with people going to see the movie, whether they're adults or children.
Finding
Really?
Dory, Finding Nemo, I feel like was very special though. There was something
Yeah.
special about Finding
Yeah.
Nemo because I think everyone thought it was going to be a one-off.
I guess
Like-
so. Well, most of the
It's like
Pixar
the-
movies,
it's
except
like-
for Toy Story.
The Incredibles, you think will be a one-off, and because it's been so long, you
Yeah.
don't expect it to come out again.
Well, they're doing a sequel for
they
that
are
too.
doing a sequel, yeah.
Yes, they've waited again because I think if in between 15 years, if people start talking about it more,
Yeah, but look, so what do you think kids would, now that are watching Finding Dory, will go back and watch Finding Nemo? Because they weren't born. A lot of them
it's
weren't
the same
born.
universe technically.
Yeah.
It's the same ocean.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter if you don't watch Finding Nemo before you watch Finding Dory.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I
really
think
matter.
they'd enjoy Finding Nemo more,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I enjoyed Finding Nemo more.
Yeah, it has a lot more characters in it. That I enjoyed. Like it's got the sharks.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
trying
It's
to
got the
remember.
fish tank.
Yeah. The characters they introduce from the, what do they call it? Marine park.
Yeah, it's
thing.
like the San
Yeah,
Francisco Marine
yeah.
Park
Yeah.
with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, that was so
Yeah.
weird. She's like, I'm Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
She wanted a quick 10,000.
It's funny.
I was listening, like with the dialogue, I think Ellen DeGeneres just improvised a lot of it. And then they just did the animation around her improvising.
Yeah.
Which is good.
She
though.
sounds like she's just like, they sit her in the studio for a day with a mic.
That's
just
what they
to
do.
be funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I know, but like usually there's a script. I think they just told her to just to say
Here's
what,
$100,000 now. Just do something.
100,000.
Well, the budget's
And the rest.
200 mil.
Yeah. So she would at least got 10 million.
Probably 10 mil. Yeah,
She would have
probably
been
10.
the highest paid.
Yeah, well, her name's in the
Yeah.
Yeah,
name's in the thingo, in the title, but
because all she needs after having a TV show for 10 years is more money.
20 million more
Yeah.
though.
I feel sorry for her actually.
Pay for a wedding.
Yeah. Her wedding, isn't she already married?
Sam,
Portia de Rossi.
Sam, can
What
you?
would you ask?
Well, you know.
Let's Wikipedia Ellen.
You keep up
while
on
we-
that
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I'm pretty sure.
All right,
they're
okay. Well,
married.
my question though, what were your feelings while watching this? Like, did you get, because you know how we were sort of talking about with Jurassic World and all that, and Godzilla, our childhood's being ruined.
Yeah.
Did this movie ruin your childhood?
No,
Is my question.
no. Jurassic
No.
World ruined my childhood.
She is married. Ellen DeGeneres is married in 2008.
Oh, well,
There you go.
Oh, okay. Well,
To Portia de Rossi from Arrested Development for
she-
people. But people should know that by
Yeah.
now.
yeah, I don't know that, but
Anyway, moving on.
no,
So
I think
it didn't ruin your
Jurassic
childhood.
World ruined my childhood.
Jurassic
Yeah.
World
As
ruined
we
your childhood.
talked upon
Yeah.
about 2 weeks ago.
Well,
This
yeah.
didn't, to be honest. I didn't mind I didn't mind Finding Dory, to be honest.
I didn't mind it, but yeah, I didn't watch it having the same feeling that I did when I watched Finding Nemo. But then again, I probably shouldn't have really expected that either.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
being 15 years older,
Yeah.
it's not gonna have the same effect, and
And it was darker, I felt.
like the
Yeah.
tone or the
The look and the tone. I mean, her
Dark.
character is so lovable, but like she's been put in this pretty
there's a
horrible
scene where she's in
situation.
those sewer pipes, and it was very grubby
Yeah.
and dirty, and
But even like outside of the marine park when she was in that water, like it wasn't
It's-
pretty like
it's
the Great
all
Barrier Reef.
en-
It was just-
environmental.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
going
These
to talk about
days,
that.
it's all
Yeah.
like
That's the environmental message.
Yeah.
I see an eye roll
like
there.
we need it,
For those playing
like
home.
we need it in a kids' film.
That's one shot for
Kids
Sean's
aren't
eye
gonna
roll.
kill.
Yeah.
Kids aren't gonna care. But see, Finding Dory, Finding Nemo, they had cut in with the aquarium. So
Yeah.
that's the color that's being in between Marlin being in the middle of the ocean where there's no color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where this one was, there's a bit of aquarium stuff which was colorful, but I feel like it wasn't on for long enough
Yeah.
Yeah.
for me.
Well, that's the thing, because Pixar's always been good with like the double meanings. Like, Toy Story, adults can watch it
Yeah,
on a whole different level
the
than kids.
experts are doing it.
Yeah.
They've
So
got a
that's
formula.
that's why when I was watching Finding Dory, and I was like, there's this whole environmental message that the kids will probably not pick up on, but which is just kind of
Toy Story doesn't have an environmental message.
no, but it had like double meaning. There were a lot of like sexual innuendo jokes.
There's no sexual innuendos in this, though. We
No,
don't,
but
need,
what
we
I'm
don't
saying-
need environmental meanings. We don't
He
need.
watches it on the kids level, doesn't he?
We don't. We
I
don't
like the fish.
this,
The little
yeah.
Dory was cute.
Field. We don't kiss on the road.
But what I'm saying though is like I think that when we watch Pixar movies now, we're watching it on the adult level.
No.
We're missing the kids level.
No.
You're watching it on the kids
I
level.
watch on the kids. Level.
Okay.
Well, someone has to do it because when it comes down to discussions like this, you two on the
You're on the
boring
kid.
adult level,
Boring.
and I'm still in the adventurous level.
But yeah, well, see, that's what I'm saying. That like I got all that environmental stuff, and it's kind of like I think their best environmental movie was Wall-E, about
Yes.
because it showed you
Yeah.
what the world would be like
Yes.
when.
See
humans
that
have to
that,
do
that fitted in with the story, and that was good. That was the main.
Well, yeah,
drive
he
of
was
why-
cleaning up after
Yeah.
humanity,
Yeah,
but
which was good.
with this, it was kind of a bit like I was just a bit like,
It was- yeah.
Snacking.
You didn't like.
yeah.
It wasn't spelt out. It was just like it was just there. You knew that. Wow, that water's really gross.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's like you can have a fish go. Oh,
But it's
this
kind of
water's
the only thing
horrible."
with that though is like
And you
it's
have
like.
a power plant down the road. It's like, ooh, water.
But we use power.
Terrible.
We're using power now. So is it like we should just turn off all our power?
All right, that's the
not-
end of the podcast.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. But that's what I mean. Like, is a message that we're just going to ruin the environment by the way we are.
Through Finding Dory.
What? No. Finding Dory. I think the message was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Is that what the message is? That we're just ruining the environment?
Well, no, it's just it's adult. As you said, it's an adult side of it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like as an example, like I just gave before, like a fish could you could have a scene where oil is spilling into the ocean.
Yeah.
Kids would just see that as a threat. Like they won't think of any, like what's oil, like
Yeah.
anything. But you had the fish like, ugh, it tastes horrible, and swim away. But all the parents would get that. It'd be like, oh yeah, that's like the PP spill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, I think, the level in Finding Marlin. I think that's the kind of
Finding
jokes that
Marlin.
they would do. Finding Marlin is the next movie in the
Are
trilogy.
you making that up?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna
Well, that,
Finding Marlin gets old and gets dementia.
Finding
Finding
Marlin.
Marlin.
Oh, and then it's all on about
Marlin.
how old people, how we treat old people in society.
Yeah, and it's like we shouldn't have let him drive to work. Like, Marlin, where are you? He's like, this isn't the way. This is in the chemist warehouse.
Yeah.
So I think,
Yeah. Well, climate change. That's what that like.
there you go.
Yeah.
So the climate is changing.
There's a full
and
4
it's bad for fish.
sentences on.
But I read this year that the ozone layer was actually showing signs of healing. So.
Yeah,
They
because
always say
we're
that.
cutting out the chemicals that were really bad for them.
It's all the stop and start
But not
engines.
every country is. It's just a
God.
couple.
Yeah, well, that's the thing where it's like, are we spent to feel guilty and then not use that stuff? Is that the point?
But But like, what about the actual marine park itself? Like, are we meant to feel bad for all the animals that are caught in the, or not caught, but like captured for the marine park?
Yeah, for human amusement. And that's what I thought with like I think it was meant to be about, SeaWorld, and they're trying to get the killer whales released.
Yeah, because there's that whole, you like, they show a lot of behind the scenes at the aquarium, like they're in like these little cages and they're all trying to escape.
Yeah.
And they're all like being thrown around.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to make them look bad.
Yeah, that was actually my favourite shot of the movie, was when like the truck went up the bump and then the fish will jump to the next.
Yeah,
that was amazing. I was like, because that's like, that like brought out like my inner child, because I was like, that's what Pixar did, like really good visual jokes.
Yeah.
There wasn't that many.
But in real life though, many fish are hitting the floors of trucks, dying before little kids can see
PSA,
them.
public.
It's a real thing.
Oh wow. Were you imitating a PSA, or were you just telling me in real life? That's what happens.
Sigourney Weaver was a PA.
Yeah, Sigourney.
Another thing that I hated in this film was what was the octopus's name? Voiced by...
Is it Ed O'Neill? That was, Ed O'Neill from Modern Family.
That was John Goodman.
And Married with Children.
Wasn't
I'm pretty sure it was Ed O'Neill, wasn't it? No. Anyway, what did you hate about it?
No,
what did you hate?
We have to wait until we have to blame first. It was Ed O'Neill. Okay.
Yeah, Ed O'Neill. Yeah,
Hank,
who's
the East Pacific red octopus who previously lost a tentacle.
Yeah.
We never get shown why he hates people.
Well, you got to wait for Finding Hank.
And he never finding Hank. Finding Hank's.
This is one of your like
Finding Hank's testicle.
Tentacle.
Wow. This is one of your pet hates, isn't it? You always bring this up.
I do.
What?
Like when there's something that like whether it's visual or in the story, and they don't talk about it, and you don't like that.
No, he's really afraid.
Really annoyed.
Like I get it. Okay, he's afraid of humans. Understandable, I think they really play. Yeah, they really played it up to be his animal, because they like the camouflage and hide. He's afraid of humans, and he lost a tentacle.
Wouldn't it just be like someone stepped on it or something?
No, it could have been anything. We don't know, because they never told us. It could have been one scene with Dory, and she'd be like, "Hey, how'd you lose that tentacle?" And it could have been like, "Oh, but that's sad."
Sometimes it's good to leave a mystery, because then it's left up to your own imagination. But I read that octopuses, when they're depressed, they eat themselves. They start eating themselves. That's a fact.
Wow. I didn't even know octopuses had emotions.
I didn't even know.
Octopi? It's octopi. Octopuses.
Octopus pie.
Octopus pie.
Would be yummy.
Sounds disgusting. Sounds like a Beatles lyric. John Lennon eating octopus pie. No, that's Bob Dylan, anyway.
Oh, same thing.
Oh, wow.
Same era.
New fan theory.
But just a scene just to show why. I mean, I feel like in Pixar films they always say the whys. They always ask the questions like, "How did you lose this?"
Yeah, I think
if you're going to show
that's actually a really good point.
Over and over again. I'm scared of humans. Oh, I've only got 7
but then
tentacles.
there's no... I think...
Give us one scene. And that's the low point. That's the sadness.
I think the broader criticism is that, Pixar movies are so detailed, and there's so much like information that you can like rediscover. Finding Dory didn't seem to have that much of it. It was a bit like... The start was kind of weird as well. I kind of got a bit lost, because I was sort of doing the prequel and then jumping through Finding Nemo.
Yeah, it was a bit all over the place at the beginning.
Yeah. Since it's been 13 years.
Yeah, I know. They tried to redo it all.
Yeah.
A little jumpy.
I thought it was cool that Diane Keaton was the mum. Do you even know who that is?
No.
You're looking blank. She was in Annie Hall, Woody Allen movie. Best movie of all time. Anyway, we'll move on.
Wives Club.
Jaws is the greatest film of all time. But
okay.
I'll let you
we'll
go
talk
on
about
that.
that another day.
Yeah.
So ocean. So you like ocean movies, obviously.
Pardon?
Jaws.
Jaws?
Set in the ocean.
Yeah, I like the ocean.
Yeah. So did this film represent the ocean to your satisfaction?
No.
How could it have been better?
Finding Nemo.
So it could have been, if it was Finding Nemo.
They just re-released Finding Nemo.
You would have spent your money on the re-release. Yeah.
Finding Nemo, the re-release.
All right, well, so Sam, we haven't even introduced. So Sam, you introduced.
Samantha is the first female we've had on the show.
Well, she's actually the first guest on the show, officially. Yeah.
No, yeah. And it was becoming a bit of a sausage fest. And I conveniently happened to have a girlfriend who was a girl. And so
what a great intro.
We brought her in, but she's actually she's a lot smarter than Nathan and I.
Okay, I'll ask Sam. What do you do?
She's done a diploma in interior design.
And
This is not the 19th century short. She can
film
talk
and
for
screen,
herself.
film and screen. But you should probably introduce.
Yeah, no.
yourself.
So Sam's reviewed this film on her website, Samantha Howson Design.
.wix.
.wix. So you got to go .wix to look it up. Is it .wixsite.com?
Wix site.
Yeah.
/
WIX.
Although I just googled Samantha Howson Design and it comes up under
First
It should
page.
come up.
Yeah.
First page, right there.
So what were your thoughts? So you've reviewed the film. What did you give it overall?
I gave it 3.5 out of 5, of course.
Could have been out of 10.
That's not bad. What about a comparable? Like, what's a comparable film? Like another big film that you gave 3.5. So people get
the
an
same
idea.
genre.
Yeah, does it have to be?
I don't know. Yeah, just like
Well, we went and saw Jungle Book, which was the live action Jungle Book.
Yeah.
And I
I
gave
still haven't
that
seen that.
I gave that 4.
Okay, so this wasn't as good as Jungle Book.
No, I don't think it was. I really liked Jungle Book. But I suppose that was different because it was half live action. So I don't know. What you thought you liked Jungle Book better, didn't you?
I like the story better of Jungle Book anyway, but that's a pretty established story. Like everyone kind of knows the story of the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Finding Dory
this was
was
original.
a new
But
one.
but still,
Like,
Finding Dory, the universe was still established.
Yeah, like I didn't hate Finding Dory, but
Well, I think with Sam, so because you're a visual designer and all of that, the visuals of the film you talk a lot about in your review.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought, I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just with kids' films, they're usually a lot brighter and more colourful. This one was quite dark, and I think that probably affected my overall feeling for it.
Yeah.
But then again, like, you know, Toy Story had the third one.
Yeah,
had quite
elements
a
of
Yeah,
dark,
that was a sad.
really
I
grim.
almost
We'll
cried
get
during
to
that.
Yeah.
we'll get to that, and
We'll do that one day.
And Toy
Yeah.
Story 4, which I
Oh well, yeah.
around.
Speaking of ruining
Oh.
childhoods, we
We'll
might
get
do
to
a
that.
podcast on Toy Story 4.
and I also
that would be a fun
I
one.
also want to do a
that down the
potty
track.
on
Yeah. Potty.
because I watched the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean. Speaking of the ocean, and
It's all about the ocean. People are loving the ocean these days.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Toy Story 4 will be
Hook,
set on
line,
a
and
boat.
sinker, my boy.
Toys on a
But-
boat.
Pirates of the Caribbean 1 to 3, great trilogy of films. Rewatched them again, fantastic.
Okay.
Downloaded the 4th one, really nervous about it because the last time I watched it, I actually fell asleep during it, which is really
Yeah.
rare for me to fall asleep during a film.
I do it all the time. Did it through Rogue One.
Thanks.
That was a confession. I
Yep.
felt so good getting
You
it
got
off my chest live on a podcast.
I
This is
felt-
good for
Some of the
therapy.
boys would kill you.
This is good therapy.
I almost fell asleep through Rogue One too.
You did, I saw you.
No, I was
you
yawning
were
a lot,
glazed.
and I was.
Did you like
Right.
Rogue One overall? We'll just get that on.
I liked the ending.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I probably
Yeah.
could have skipped the whole start of
Yeah.
it and just
Yeah.
gone.
We haven't
from
done
there.
was the
you
same
haven't
as my
done your
review.
Rogue One reviews. But
Yeah, yeah.
No, I
We'll be out
haven't.
soon.
Yeah, I
though.
started it, but it was so
Hopefully.
short. I was like,
Better than nothing.
It was,
Better than
yeah.
nothing.
That's people saying that. Like after the podcast, I was reading more about it, and people were saying it's like one of the only like big blockbuster movies that could have been longer. Because most criticisms of films that they go too long.
yeah,
Yeah.
A lot of people said
Yeah.
Rogue One could have actually gone a bit longer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, they could have established the characters better, so you
Yeah.
actually cared more about
Yeah.
it. But anyway,
We had
Yeah.
the discussion about the characters, and
Yeah.
my thing was the exact opposite, that you don't need to establish them because they're all going to die in the end.
but you have to feel that emotion when they do die, because or else it's like
You got to care.
yeah, you have to
Yeah.
care.
I wanted a
Well-
ragtag team, like a heist
We know this,
film.
we know this. You can go
Ocean's
to that-
11 in
You
space.
can go to that podcast
Ocean's,
if that's what
yeah,
you want
you
to hear.
can go into our podcast.
Yeah.
See me whinge about it.
So what were you talking about? So you nearly fell asleep. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, relating back to the sea. Pirates of the
Yeah.
Caribbean. Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
I'm being dude.
He's still learning how sound works. If you touch the microphone,
Quite a complicated thing.
It will
really,
click. Yeah.
if you-
Yeah.
But no, I think our next podcast will be like breaking out of the trilogy, like Toy Story 4, Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Yeah, well, once
Die
hit
Hard.
3. Well, this is like, yeah.
That
So-
kind of relates
think
back
Pirates
to
of the Caribbean 5.
Finding Nemo. Like, obviously, it's not a trilogy, but it's kind of you didn't have to have a sequel to Finding Nemo.
Yeah,
It
you
could
didn't
been a
have
one-off.
to. It could have
But
been.
it's at a stage now where it's kind of like, is there going to be a third one to make up the trilogy?
But could you say this was more like a one-off film that was just set in the same
You could have
area?
said that with Finding Nemo though? Like just a one-off film altogether.
Like
Yeah, but fine.
marketing.
yeah, although
said-
the story sort of followed, because I was going to say like Cloverfield and then 10 Cloverfield Lane, they were sort of combined by themes rather than the story.
Yeah.
All new characters and all new that, but it was the same sort of idea. But this is actually it's the same story, so that's not
Yeah.
quite the same.
Yeah,
Well, there's a term they call it like sequelitis, where like Hollywood's infected now because they have to keep making
yeah,
the same movie.
Yeah.
So this would be like the second. If it's not really going to be a trilogy, is it? Unless they do a Finding
Maybe.
Marlin,
Well-
which would be
well,
amazing.
money
That'd be
talks, and the evidence is there. 800 million
Money
profit.
talks. Shaun Man 2016. Money talks.
Money talks right at the end of 2016.
We've got our caption now.
But no, 800 million profit. That's a lot.
Well,
that's
yeah.
a
Well,
lot
you
of
got to like.
pennies.
Well, it's always hard to tell because you got to factor in.
So the science is there. Like
You got to factor in, yeah. So $200 million budget, but then all the marketing on top of that.
I wouldn't.
But also the toys. Imagine how many Finding Dory toys they sold.
Yeah.
They should release the like action figure sales as well.
And the Blu-ray sale.
Because George Lucas, I
Broken
actually watched a video this week, and he said that that's where like you think like $1 billion is a lot for a film to make. Like imagine how much they sell in toys.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Star Wars
definitely.
toys and all
Because you think
that.
about it, you go to a cinema and you spend like what we spent $20 on the Star Wars tickets or whatever, $21.
Because we watched it in 3D.
But a kid will go and they'll buy like a $50 Finding Dory plush toy.
Sam bought $5 Star Wars 3D glasses.
Yeah.
That's $5 in
We have
Lucas's
a friend who'll be unnamed who has spent thousands of dollars on Star Wars toys.
It's
The
like-
amount of women that has achieved is unspeakable. Literally unspeakable. Anyway.
Well,
but
Harrison Ford. I think I saw that Harrison Ford in his contract for the first
yeah.
3 movies actually said that he'll take that amount of money for acting, but then he'll take some
Yeah,
of
the action figure
merchandise,
Yeah.
I think it was 5% he took.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Which
was when
was
they were
still
desperate.
about-
yeah.
But that's smart.
50 million.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was
So
smart.
50
to
million
do
he
that.
still made.
Yeah.
On top, that's just from box office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all
Like
that.
that's so.
Yeah.
And just get killed off. But we'll talk about Force Awakens
Oh,
one
that was-
day.
Yeah, we'll get onto all that. Yeah, so this movie is obviously the sequel, but
But will it make another
Yeah,
sequel?
will they
afterwards?
make another one?
'Cause
That's a good
business-wise, they should make another one because it's been so successful. But Ellen DeGeneres is getting old. She'll be 70 or so when the next one comes out. If it follows the 15-year-old trend. She's what, 60?
58. Oh, she's actually, I didn't realize how old she is.
wow.
One
Yeah.
foot in there already.
She looks like, in
Foot
a
in the grave.
Wikipedia photo, if it's still the same when you're listening, she kind of looks, her eyes are really blue.
Yeah.
Like freakishly blue.
Yeah, look what she's
I
wearing.
can see the ocean in her eyes.
She loves the ocean.
Yeah. But she looks like Satan or something. She's like the spawn of a devil.
All right.
Anyway. Sorry, it's just distracting me.
Well, we've gone from Finding Dory to insulting celebrities.
No, I like Ellen. But this is the thing, I was actually thinking about that though, that it was, Finding Nemo was the same year as her show started, 2003.
Yeah.
So she was almost like, not a nobody because she had like a sitcom in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she wasn't huge. She wasn't like Ellen.
Yeah.
But now she's like Ellen.
Yeah.
And so she's got her promotional channel of like, of promoting it. So that's what, you know how we're talking about the hype machine?
Yeah.
I love that theme that we keep coming back to.
The hype machine is there.
So it obviously because it made $1 billion and it's like one of the only, I think it's the third animated film to do that after Toy Story 3 and Zootopia, which I'm yet to see. It's on my list. Zootopia came out this year.
Wasn't
Disney
there
one.
Secret Life of Pets? Or was that
I don't know if that made $1 billion. I don't think that made $1 billion.
Yeah.
No, Zootopia was
Frozen?
pretty popular.
Frozen.
Oh yeah, Frozen. Yeah, of course.
Toy
Frozen.
Story 3?
Yeah.
Maybe not? I'm not too sure. We'd have to
You can look up highest
We'll have to
grossing
do a
animated film.
podcast for number crunching one day.
Yeah, one day.
But
Um,
do you think there'll be a sequel for Finding Dory? Or will it be Finding Marlin?
Yeah, it wouldn't.
And doesn't matter.
It wouldn't be a direct sequel. It would be.
Yeah. Okay, it's the fourth highest grossing animated film.
Oh, Minions.
Frozen, Minions,
Oh.
Toy Story 3, Finding Dory, then Zootopia.
I hate Minions.
So there's 5 that have made $1 billion. So
Sick of
Zootopia
that.
is the 5th.
Lion King should be up there. Above
Well, the Lion King's up
above
there.
Minions.
The Lion King's just below
yeah,
$1
but
billion.
it's below Minions.
But it's, well, you got to adjust for inflation, unless that is adjusted.
Monsters University's in
You
there.
have to check
Haven't
the,
seen it.
yeah.
Haven't seen
Monsters
Well,
University's my
Monsters
favourite.
University, yeah, I didn't even, because that was a prequel, and I was like, I don't know if that needed to be
Yeah.
made either.
I really liked it. I thought
Yeah.
it was good. They didn't I don't know, they didn't try and be anything but what the characters were in the first one.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I was talking about with Toy Story 4. I was thinking, like, how can they do that? Like, they've already made like a perfect. Yeah, it says possible sequel on Finding Dory. But what I was saying is with Toy Story 3, I think everyone agrees that was like almost the perfect trilogy. But now they're making number 4.
Yeah.
And I was reading this thing about how, like stories get told in cycles. Like the ancient Greeks, they told stories and kept retelling them.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare's stories, they're not even original. They're just retellings of other stories. And people keep redoing Shakespeare. So like there's that argument that stories are just going to keep getting retold forever.
Yeah.
But
it's getting shorter and shorter in between.
Yeah, the cycles are getting... Well, it just depends on the format, though. Because films sort of come to its peak where it's like they've got to keep redoing
We'll talk about Spider-Man as well.
But I was reading a thing about it's like our generation of like the millennials and that we're so selfish and think that we own these stories. Like we think that we own Toy Story 3 and that how can they make a 4th one?
Yeah.
So
well, just reading here on the official Finding Dory Wikipedia page, possible sequel. One of the titles here. In June 2016, the director talked of possibly directing a sequel.
Yeah.
As he doesn't want to exclude the introduction of new characters. Well, there's only... How many characters did it introduce? The Hank, the octopus, that whale, and the dugong thing.
Well, it had all those classic... The fish in the tank. I think that was like the best part of Finding Nemo. That those fish in the tank.
Yeah.
It was like a sitcom.
Flo. What was it? Flo. She like talked herself in the mirror.
Or something.
Yeah.
Shut up, Flo. Like it was her sister in the mirror.
It was a sitcom. It was
the
French prawn.
the starfish or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
that could have been a show in itself. Just the aquarium.
What was a big? What was Gus? What was the big guy? The big one that Brad Garrett played.
Yeah.
What was the
Is the
running when he runs on the volcano?
Man.
Ooga booga.
Umba Jumbo.
Yeah. Umba Jumbo. Yeah.
Ooh, ha, ha.
We're going to like go back and actually look at what it is. And do really well.
It goes ooh, ha, ha, ha. But there's something at the start. Shark bait. Ooh,
Ooh, ha, ha. Shark bait. Ooh, ha.
And he has to go through the bubbles. But
and Jeffrey Rush was in that film, so therefore it's already the best film.
Yeah.
Agreed. But like even they're already talking about as a sequel and whatnot, and introduction of new characters. So it'll probably be Finding Hank's tentacle,
or Finding Marlin. We should do a poll and what
Find Marlin or
see.
Find Hank's tentacle.
I think Finding Marlin would be the best with dementia.
Yeah, dementia.
Another 10 years.
He gets
because
dementia.
Albert Brooks is the actor for that who plays Marlin.
Well, he's
like
getting old himself.
Yeah,
he's getting old himself
because he did interviews. He's like starting to get senile. Like, yeah. Like those old actors, like, they don't know what they are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like Robert Duvall, when he was in The Judge, with Robert Downey Jr., and he was doing the press tour, and he looked like he was so out of it. He was on like Graham Norton, and he just didn't know,
Finding
didn't know
Marlin.
where he was.
He forgets the way home. Here's the way home. He takes a right instead of a left.
And that means Finding Nemo would be an adult. Well, Nemo would be an adult.
Yeah.
So there's a whole new
teenager
story.
or so.
Get Matthew Broderick.
Dad, gone for the wrong walk again.
Oh, wow.
This summer. Marlin takes a wrong turn.
How many times can they? Yeah.
Imagine
This time it's Marlin's
trailer,
turn.
like the new Cars trailer, and how everyone said it was super dark and like.
Oh yes,
I
the new
haven't seen
car.
that Cars 3.
Yeah, really dark.
Speaking of ruining childhoods.
Yeah.
Well, everything's gone Christopher Nolan on us. The new Cars trailer.
Oh, wow. There's another caption.
The new
Money talks.
The new Cars trailer
Yeah.
is a slow, like it's pointing down a racetrack.
Yeah.
It's
All in slow motion.
Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
And you can see Steve McQueen flipping,
Yeah.
like just being like a big crash.
Yeah.
And that's the whole trailer. It's like, geez, like what happened?
Well, maybe the market, because they do market research and they do test screenings and stuff. Do you think kids like gritty films? That's the new market. Kids like noir.
I'm scared that they're putting like adult minds into kids' bodies. You know what I mean? Like you're instead of just being like, I mean, like when I was 12, like I was so different to what 12-year-olds are today.
Technology plays a big role in it as well.
Yeah, well, everything's so available that I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed really dark.
It's ruining their childhoods.
Yeah.
We come back to the start.
I think
we come full circle.
It's also